ladies and gents, and welcome to day 24 of Moviefiles, 100 movies in 100 days. Today we'll be reviewing the comedy drama movie The Life and Times of Steve Zissou. So, you know what this is? This is one more day away from our final review of Bill Murray week. The film stars Bill Murray as Steve Zissou, an eccentric oceanographer who literally just has his movies out there for everybody to see. He claims they're documentaries, but they look more like Hollywood films. The story sets on his attempt to gain revenge on a jaguar shark who ate his best friend. And the film was directed by Wes Anderson and also stars Royal Tenenbaum members Angelica Houston and Owen Wilson. Now let's focus on the story. Wild oceanographer and documentarian Steve Zissou is working on his newest documentary at sea, and his best friend Esteban, the planteur, was eaten by a wild jaguar shark.
Look at that! Look at that! Oh my God! Grab him! Grab him!
For the next project, Zissou is adamant at destroying the shark and making sure that he takes revenge for the life of his dear friend. Whilst being panned out of the building for his latest movie and told that he would never ever work again and that he should retire, Zissou then meets his son, played by Owen Wilson. Well, he's a supposed son. It's not actually implied that he is his son. There's no tests that have been made. There's nothing that's been stated to that effect. Just the fact that this is his son by name value. His name is Edward Ned Plimpton, who's a big fan of Zissou and also a gentleman that he ends up renaming to Kingsley Zissou. The two then later form an attachment, and he decides to take him on his journey with him to find this jaguar shark. Zissou then gets his crew and his son onto his boat, the Belafonte, and he has a few people who have specialist skills. One called Pelé dos Santos, a musician who mainly plays David Bowie songs, and Klaus Daimler, who's played by William Dafoe. My God, it's so refreshing to have somebody who can actually do an accent and do it rather well. Dafoe is a breath of fresh air, and I mean a huge breath of fresh air in terms of the characters that he portrays. He's an amazing actor, an amazing character actor, and can bring characters down to the smoothest, simplest accents. And he does stuff like this to bring the character up and give him his own identity. He viewed both Zissou and Esteban as father figures to him, and always saw himself as the guy that would be his second in command. He also has a gentleman named Vikram Gray, who's his cameraman, and he just stands there, points and shoots basically. That's his whole role in this film. It'd be awesome to have something like this. He also has like a huge pack of unpaid college interns who he just has there being used for extra credit. Now, let's go on to Ned's character. With this story, you have it sort of branch out from not just Zissou, but also with Ned's characters. You follow both guys' stories as they attempt to gain some semblance of normality and realization in terms of their relationship. Because Ned really wants Zissou to be his father, and Zissou really wants Ned to be his son. But in a sense, Zissou takes advantage of Ned's simple-minded southern gentleman-esque behaviour, and the fact that he was raised to be like very polite and very calm, and not the kind of guy that would take charge. He also admires Steve in terms of sending him letters as a kid and talking, about his passion for oceanography. Now, Ned's mother had recently died, and she said to him that Steve was his father. And again, this has been implied, but it was never ever stated that that was the case. Ned then takes a break from his job as an airline to join Zissou's crew after Zissou has basically asked him to come with him and go on this journey and share this experience with his father. The bank is a bit hesitant in financing his next documentary, so Ned puts up the 250 grand in hopes that he can help get this documentary off the ground. And the bank then send a bondsman to the boat in order to go on this journey with Zissou and make sure that he stays on course. Both guys are infatuated with a news reporter who comes on deck as well by the name of Jane, who's played by Cate Blanchett. She's also pregnant with her married boss's child. So while she's reporting this, she's letting him know all the information, and also trying to deal with her pregnancy and get some semblance of normality, as she had an affair with this gentleman who's also married with children. Both men basically fight with one another, trying to gain her affections, as Ned becomes the clear winner. Steve is upset by this and orders both Ned and the reporter off the boat. They set off on their mission to find this jaguar shark and resolve Steve's situation with this shark in hopes of destroying it, and documenting it along the way. Also, you get to see how his documentaries get made by actually editing, producing and scoring these films on Steve's ship, which makes me laugh because it kind of switches in and out of desperate pursuit of the shark to Hollywood big budget film being made. While this happens, they're attacked by pirates who then steal their treasure, their money off the boat, and Steve attempts to tackle them and defeat them before all is said and done. I have no idea why this happens, but Steve gets a gun and starts blasting at these guys. They're attacking back and forth, and then decides he needs to go after them and get his money back and save everyone. Zissou also has a nemesis by the name of Alistair Hennessy, who decides if they want his help because the boat's left in irreparable damage by these pirates, that he would have to pay him double the amount that he's actually being paid for this movie in order to tow them back. He was also once married to Zissou's wife and has expressed that he's half gay. That's what he says. Steve then finds the pirates, gets his gold back, beats everybody, and then gets back to their mission and gets into a helicopter to try and see if they can find the shark. The helicopter then crashes and Ned is laid dead. After Steve screams about the loss of his son, they then bury him and then go in search for the jaguar shark once more just to see if they can find it.
Should I try?
Pays tribute to Ned, and again, it's just seen as one of those something that's really simple as a documentary and as beautiful, and it kind of gets tainted with all this Hollywood-esque scripting and writing and pre-planning. Zissou tracks down the shark, finds it, and sees how beautiful the shark is. It's in kind of a form of a puppet. He looks at how beautiful it is and realises he doesn't have the dynamite to kill the shark, so leaves it be. Zissou gets validation from the shark itself and from the viewing of his next documentary, which is viewed in a packed house. He himself doesn't view it and decides to stay outside while he sits thinking about his lost son Ned, who turns out is not his son after all. He was just... Steve could never ever have children because he just keeps firing blanks. And then Zissou just goes onto his journey and keeps going in the name of Ned and the name of others that he's lost, and that's where the film comes to its conclusion. So let's go down to the acting. As I said, it's a very, very tongue-in-cheek tale, so to speak. It's a rather fun dramedy in a sense where it has its funny moments, but tends to focus on more serious things. In terms of Ned himself, Owen Wilson plays a really good character. He's rather bland but yet rather sharp at the same time, and he seems to be someone who really is in awe of Zissou. Cate Blanchett has her role to play, being the foil that directs the two together but also tears them apart at the same time. The notion that both these men want to be with her really aids this film and pushes it in that direction. The fact that it has a difference between animatronic side to this film and also the direction and the acting really helps it as well. It's a great little piece and it's something really awesome that anyone can actually watch. In terms of Bill Murray and his acting in this movie, he's done an extremely great job. Steve is really a different character in terms of what Murray's played before. He's an old age character who's also someone who's not comfortable with the way his life is at the moment and seeks to get in some sort of change. That's a good thing in terms of how this character is portrayed and showing something rather different, which Wes Anderson as a director always manages to do with Murray. He tends to show a different side of him rather than just see one-dimensional characters, which is a great thing, and it helps validate Murray as an actor, pretty much as Zissou validated himself in this movie as an oceanographer, because was never taken seriously because they felt his films went too Hollywood, which in parody they kind of did. Now let's go down to the rating. The rating of this movie, as you know, would go from 1 to 5, 1 being worst, 5 being the best, and I give this movie a 4. Great film, it's great to actually watch, and it's great for people to actually see something different. If you want to see a Murray movie which is fun, yet it's pretty off the chain as well, in the same that it's very tongue-in-cheek, you'll love this movie. It wasn't received as well and kind of didn't make its budget back, but in a sense I believe that this film was a sleeper hit and it's something really good. You know, it's really great for anybody to watch, and hopes that it's a shame because it's a really good movie. and anyone who is anybody would love to see this. So take a look at it, guys, and tell me what you think. Do you think that I'm right, or do you think that I'm wrong in terms of how great this movie is? So give me a shout out, leave a comment, subscribe and like as always, and I'll see you again for another movie file.